The healing skill is one of the most common skill that we have in RPG games. There are many forms of it. There are healing potions, bandages, syringes, health orbs, and many more. It's a skill that is essential not only in RPG games, but in most of the games that we play in general. It is one of the most important skills to have in our journey for us to survive in this vast world that we are creating. In this devlog, we'll be integrating our very own version of the healing spell and how it plays a big role in a reverse RPG game where we play as a monster. By the end of this video, we will test our healing mechanic in a full-on combat battle with the humans invading our island home. Previously, we've made a feature that collects life essence from fallen enemies on the battlefield. We need this feature since life essence is the main resource for us to use on our skills. One of the skills that is dependent on life essence is the healing spell. I simply made the gathering feature for life essence using particle force fields and have the particles from fallen enemies gather towards the center of the field. Then for every particle that hits the collider, it updates the player's life essence. As for the healing spell, we just simply need to make a script that triggers when we hit the R key. I choose the R key since it's the most common to use for utility, along with the E and Q key. To organize everything, I also made a skills manager where we can modify and fill with skills later on as we move forward with our development. Now let's test the script that we made. Alright, it seems to work fine. Now let's make some visual representation for us to know that our character is healing. We simply just add a new parameter to our animation controller and mark it as true to play the healing animation. Let's test it. Seems to work. Now let's add some effects to the healing. Let's simply use some particle effects to indicate that the character is healing. And we will tie it down with the script that we made when we hit the R key. Let's test it. Looks great. Now let's test everything we've done so far. So here we have our wisp. Let's go to our skeleton pile and try to conjure our skeleton. Then let's pick up our tools, our shield and our sword. Now let's find the mercenary group that is gathering some life essence nearby. In this version of the game, I only did not just make a healing feature, but I tweaked a lot of existing settings and mechanics. For instance, our color scheme now, as you've noticed, is more vibrant. And the fog at the distance is more defined and clearer. I also made the sky and the clouds pop out a bit to give more depth to the landscape. I also did a lot of balancing for our health. Since we now have a healing spell, I lowered the skeleton's health a bit to make it more challenging. I also did some tweaks with the movement speed for the torchbearers, as well as attack speeds for the mercenary guards. We still do have some bugs though, like this guard attacking the air. We'll fix that in the future. There are many ways to defeat this group. One of the most difficult ones is prioritizing the acolyte, since with this strategy, the entire group will charge at you if you attempt to kill the acolyte. Thus, you need to do some hit and run tactics to avoid getting rushed and killed. Another way is to kill the guards first, but you need to be wary of the acolyte spell, since it will cripple you for a few seconds while the entire group charges at you, leaving you open for some devastating hits. This group is very challenging and I really love for you guys to test them out as soon as we have some combat demo. I think we'll have a combat demo as soon as all gameplay loops for the combat mechanics is polished, so stay tuned. Having a very smart enemy AI that works together as a team really makes this monster game super challenging. With the behavior of the acolyte taking cover behind his team will push you to find openings and opportunity to land an attack, at the same time looking out for enemies circling around your back for a surprise attack. Especially the torchbearers, whose behavior is more likely to circle behind you. Now the enemies did a lot of damage. Let's retreat and back away for a while and try to recover our health. Alright, our health is gradually regenerating now. Okay, let's move away a bit and let's use our healing spell again to get more of our HP up. Again, let's lure them away from the acolyte while we gradually replenish our HP bar. I think our health is now sufficient. Let's go back to the acolyte and kill him. Hopefully we'll have enough time before the entire team rushes to us and reach us. Whoops, missed. Let's watch out for that crippling spell. While the rest of the team is still far away, let's land some blows to this acolyte. Now he's dead. Let's take this opportunity to kill this torchbearer while the rest of his teammates are still far away. Other changes that I made are the animations for the torchbearers. I did a lot of tweaks and fixes to their animation. Now he's dead. Let's gather some life essence from his corpse. With the life essence mechanic spawning out from the corpse, it will give us the opportunity to replenish our life essence while in battle, unlike the previous version of this feature that will restrict us from moving. I also added a knockback feature to the game that will push the enemies backwards a bit depending on what weapon we are using. I'm doing this feature ahead of time in preparation for our armor monster type. Here's a sneak peek for it with its knockback skills. Here you see the armor monster type using its colossal sword knocking back the mercenaries. Going back to the battle, life essence is low and we need life essence to use our healing spell, but the enemy is in front of us. Let's do a hit and dodge tactics where the skeleton is very effective. Let's do a shield bash, and let's also try and collect these life essence floating around. Now this torchbearer is dead and the rest of the mercenary group is fleeing. Let's grab this opportunity to replenish our life essence by harvesting the corpses nearby. Alright, let's use our heal spell. And one more time. Alright, let's check this corpse here. Now let's go hunt the rest of the mercenary group. By the way, while we're hunting the rest of the mercenaries, I would like to take this opportunity to thank my Patreons for supporting me on my journey. All funds raised on Patreon will support the funding of Wisplight's assets. If you're interested in supporting the development of Wisplight and would like to help with the funding, I'll link Patreon in the description below. Thank you so much. Now let's try and break this guard's poise. Now that he's down, let's kick him. Yeah, this is a new animation that reacts to enemies lying on the ground. Now he's crippled. Let's rush in and do our finishing move. The slow-mo effect and camera shakes really makes the finisher cinematic. Now let's harvest some life essence and try to replenish our health. Even though the enemies are fleeing, their counter attacks really does a lot of damage when we're not careful. Alright, now we have some life essence. Now let's do a healing skill. Alright, another one. Now let's go for the kill. I also added some new features for the fleeing enemies. Just a small tweak with their behaviors when they are hit during flee mode. They now seldom run away, and instead they will stand their ground and try to fight their way out. I did a small tweak so that the fleeing mechanic will drastically be less tedious. You still need to chase them though, but when the AI thinks that they can't run away, they will just do their best and fight you. Okay, let's try and bring this guard down for the finishing kill. Alright, his poise is down. Now for a finishing move. Alright, now let's harvest this corpse. The corpse harvesting mechanic and the new healing spell really made the combat more tactical and enjoyable. So far, I like the new mechanics, and I have more features to add to the combat in the future to make it more interesting, especially the part where our health drops to 0. What will happen to us then? Will we die? Will we break? I'll be developing that in the near future, so subscribe to get updates. What do you think of the changes and the new features so far? Do you like them? If you do, please do like this video so that this devlog will spread to other viewers out there who might be interested in our game. And if you have some comments and suggestions, feel free to comment down below your thoughts. I want Wisplight to be a game that is community driven. I will read and reply to all your comments and suggestions, and hopefully implement some of them in our game. That's it. On our next devlog, I will be sharing some details on how day and night cycles affect our game. We will talk about some game design mechanics and AI behaviors that are tied to our day and night cycles. Till next time.